Do something. Fold your laundry. Take the clothes off of that desk chair. You know what I mean? Do something so that you are also productive in the process, because while I'm being productive, I want you to be productive. So get your ass up, get up. So today we're talking about blending. Blending 101. How to blend your foundation, how to blend your concealer, how to blend your cream blush, how to blend your cream contour, how to blend your powder blush and your powder this and your powder that. That's what we're learning today. That's what we're covering today. I will admit, and I will warn you, I get a little aggressive, just a little bit aggressive. It's not because I don't care about you. It's just tough love. You know, sometimes we need someone yelling at us just a little bit. You know what I mean? So don't take it to heart. And it's just because I want you to do well. Like, you know, because sometimes you need someone to yell at you. Sometimes the only way that you're going to listen, that your stubborn ass is going to listen, is if somebody's being a little more aggressive. So let me be that for you. First step is always going to be prep. So you want to make sure that your skincare has been done and you've waited at least 15 to 20 minutes for it to actually sink in. Not only that your brushes are clean, but your beauty sponge is clean. You need to have proper sponge etiquette. Always wash your beauty blender in warm water with a good soap. I'm not talking liquid soap. I'm not talking Dawn dish soap. I'm talking like a bar soap of some kind. I usually use a beauty blender bar soap because it comes with it in certain packages, but you can use any type of bar soap. Just make sure that it's squeaky clean, okay? And you want to wring out all the water in the sink, and then with a towel, and then you want to let it sit for a little bit just so that it's not soaking wet. The issue with your concealer and your blend starts with your sponge not being prepped properly. If you washed it in cold water, if you didn't wring out enough water, if you didn't let it sit there and dry down a little bit, you're gonna have patchy concealer, you're gonna have patchy foundation, you're not gonna be happy with the end result. So a lot of the time when people are rushing to do their makeup, they forget these steps are important, and then you have a shitty base and then you're mad. So don't be mad if you didn't prep properly. Next, I just need y'all to know that this is not my everyday routine. I'm trying a bunch of new products. I'm also, you know, putting some products through trial runs just to see how they last a little bit. The blend is what matters here. We're learning how to blend. We're learning how to make our face look cohesive. We're learning how to make sure that our bright under eye blends in with the rest of our face. And in order to do that, you need to have clean tools.
I am someone that lives with hormonal acne, okay? I'm 24 turning 25. At this rate, it is literally my health that I know. I know exactly what is wrong with me. But again, at the same time, it's not going to stop me from wanting to do my makeup. I love makeup. I love doing makeup. And you can see that I have a few spots today, but that's not going to stop me, and it shouldn't stop you, because regardless, nobody cares as much as you think they do.
This is going to give you the best chance at being able to blend as beautifully as possible and as seamlessly as possible. The One Size Secure The Glow. And I'm only using this one because I have pretty dry skin right now. That's what I'm experiencing. This base isn't meant to last super duper long, so that's why I'm not using anything stronger from One Size or anything stronger in general. But this is the time for you to use whatever primers that you wish, okay? And while our primer is getting tacky, or as tacky as it can get.
Oh my gosh, look, all the makeup that I've been doing, I'm starting to break out. And it happens, and it's okay, and I need to keep catching myself when I point those things out, because I know it, I feel it. Okay.
While our primer is drying down a little bit on our face, I'm going to pick out which foundation I'm going to use. So I'm usually a MAC Studio Fix girl. I'm a high coverage girl, okay? I love full coverage. And if you want that base to look flawless and seamless and poreless, you need a full coverage foundation. None of that light to medium coverage. None of that my skin but better. You need full coverage. Stop being scared. Stop being a punk. Stop being a puss, okay? Get a full coverage foundation. And if you don't have a full coverage foundation, get your concealer, mix a bit of shades to make it your skin tone, and boom, Bob's your mother and uncle, okay? Like, it'll be fine. Shake your foundations. You need to shake them well. And I'm gonna tell you why. Your foundations also have some oil in it, some type of oil, a little bit, but some type of oil in it. When you let them sit, they settle, okay? That means that you gotta get all of the products mixing back together nicely in order for you to get the most out of your product. I feel like staying in my comfort zone, so I'm gonna go in with the MAC Studio Fix. I'm in the shade NC55. She's been my baby for years. This is the first full coverage high-end foundation that I ever owned, and it was a really like big moment for me to purchase this. And now I can't believe I'm working with brands like MAC. Like, it's absolutely insane. I know people are like, oh, apply it with your brush first and then apply it onto your face, but I like having some type of control on how much product is on my brush and how much product is on my face. So this is why I decide to place it where I want to place it, because my cheeks do require more coverage. If your forehead is somewhere that requires more coverage, put more on your forehead. If your chin or your nose is somewhere that requires more coverage, apply it there. Not everybody's routine is going to fit yours, but you can make it cater to you. And that's the important part of this. Like, I don't want y'all to be just binge watching all these tutorial videos and trying to fit someone else's face and someone else's like routine to the T. Like, you need to make it cater to you. So don't be scared to go off course just a little bit. How do you think I got here? I went off course. I forgot one thing that I love doing, and that is priming my smile lines with some type of eye primer. Priming my smile lines with some type of eye primer has significantly changed the amount of creasing I get on my laugh lines, because I'm a happy person. I smile a lot. You should too. You should try it. It's not something that I'm worried about, but it just messes with the overall like perfection of the base. So I use an eye primer flat on my smile lines. Okay, and I let that get a little tacky. Today I'm using the Milk Hydro Grip, but one of my favorites as well is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Potion. These two, they're amazing. So here's how it goes. I take a setting spray, and the only point of me using this right now is because this is what I have closest to me. Use what you have. But when we're working with high coverage foundations, it's really easy for the foundation to get dry on your face, especially if you're someone with drier skin. So always make sure that you use some type of setting spray or fixing spray or any type of facial mist in general that does not remove your makeup. Now, where do you start blending with your brush? That is a good question. When it comes to your brush that you use, I always prefer a dense brush, so it's gotta be thick at the top and thick to the bottom. This is one of my favorite brushes that I don't think that I could do makeup without. Like, it's the best brush that I have ever used in my entire life, and that's saying a lot because I own a lot of brushes, I used a lot of brushes, and I've done makeup on a lot of people with a lot of different brushes. But this Sigma Max Kabuki 3D HD, the shape of it is beautiful. Like, it's a 3D, it literally is 3D. Okay, it goes all the way around, and just the way that it lays flat on your face, it makes it so easy to blend out. Now, where you start is up to you. I always prefer starting at my cheeks because that's where I need the most coverage. You can start wherever you'd like. So we just go in, and we're not rubbing and we're not going in circles. I'm just patting it into my face because I don't want it to move. I want it to stay exactly where I placed it because I was very precise in where I placed it, right? Notice that I'm not placing any product directly under my eyes, and that's because I plan on applying a full coverage concealer there. I want to make sure that I limit the amount of product that I'm putting under my eyes because I have a lot of fine lines under my eyes, and this is the part where it creases, you know? Let's get the dome. Okay, this is our first layer of foundation done. I have a pretty clear, smooth base, but you might not be able to tell, but I have a few spots here. Let me zoom in, hold on. I have a few spots here that are still visible, and I also have a few dark marks here that are also still visible to me, okay? You don't gotta do this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna add a tiny bit more just on these spots right here on my cheeks, because again, I did say that my cheeks were the areas that I needed maximum coverage. I'm gonna take my sponge, okay? I'm going to spray my face again, because if you are someone that wants full coverage, like, and I'm expecting you to want this face to last all day, right? You're going to take your fixing spray, you're going to spray your face again. That's it. Don't go too crazy. I'm going to let it get a little tacky, just a little bit. We don't want it to dry down completely, but we do want it to settle into the skin to the point where it's not going to pick up the second we put our sponge on it. And if you feel like you have too much foundation on, or the coverage is too much for you and it feels a little bit heavier on the skin, you take your sponge, your face is still a little damp from the fixing or setting spray, and you press into your face. You use your sponge to pick up any excess product that you need, and this also helps blend any streak lines that you may have. Now we're gonna be cream contouring or cream bronzing or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of discourse about bronzing, all right? Some people are saying don't go directly in with the product. Some people are saying take the product off with a brush. A lot of makeup artists are telling you take the product off with a brush. But that is also because it's easier to control when you take as much product as you want and you build it up, right? See, I don't have time for it. I'm a very heavy-handed gal. I'm a very heavy-handed person, okay? When the product is super full coverage and it's very much like I'm scared of it a little bit, I'm scared, I will take it off with a brush. But I'm using something that is medium coverage, okay? And I'm not too scared about my ability to blend it out because I have confidence that I can blend it out. And the entire point of makeup is the second that it thinks that you're scared of it, it's gonna start looking terrible. It's going to start looking terrible. You need to stop being a punk, okay? You need to stop being scared of a little bitty itty bitty foundation stick and you need to grow up, okay? Don't be scared of it not blending out. You just gotta think and believe that it's going to blend out and you're gonna work your hardest to make sure that it does because you're the one that's in control right now. Stop letting all these people give you tips and tricks and you know, all these things when you don't even have confidence in yourself. None of what I'm going to be teaching you and none of what I'm saying is going to matter if you do not have confidence that you're going to be able to do this face. You need to tell yourself that you're going to be able to do this face. And you better sit down on that damn chair and do this face with me. All right.
Sorry, got a little dramatic over there, but that's who I am. All right.
I'm going to be going in with a medium coverage foundation stick. And the reason why I'm going in with a medium coverage foundation stick and not a full coverage foundation stick is because one, contour can be very scary. It can get muddy, it can get ugly real fast, okay? And I want to make sure that I can blend it out before it dries. But this may look like a lot and this may feel like a lot to some people, but oh, that was a little crooked. See? It was a little crooked. Do I care? No, because I'm confident in how I can blend it out. My placement is going to be different from your placement, and that's a-okay. That is totally fine. The world is not going to end. But what I will say, though, is once you place it, you better be ready to blend it out. And how I blend it out is like this. I start off with my forehead. I don't start off with my cheeks. I start off with my forehead. This has less product, and my cheeks has the most product. I'm blending backwards into my hairline or into my hijab line, okay? Because if I blend going downwards, it's gonna bring darkness into the center of my face, and I'm trying to avoid that. Notice how this side already looks much brighter than this side because I've contoured and I've created shadows that are pushing this part of my forehead outwards, okay? I've created shadows, and now even when I turn my head, you only see this part. So now I'm gonna blend this side, even that out a bit, and you could see light slowly coming back into the center of my forehead. You see that? I know you see it. Stop acting dumb. All right, next I blend out my nose. You can use, I always suggest using a smaller brush for this, but again, I bite off more than I could chew sometimes. I'm a little lazy. I'm not gonna go get up and get my nose contour brush. I'm just gonna use the same brush that I have. I'm gonna pinch the bristles as thin as I can because I'm lazy, and I'm gonna go in a downwards motion to contour my nose. Again, get a smaller brush. You should not be doing this. This is not good teaching skills, Shumsy. But you know what? I'm lazy right now. I'm sorry. I got up like 3 times to change this camera battery. And I'm not worried about it being a bit messy and a bit darker on my nose because I already plan on using a concealer there anyways. So I'm fine. And then I can also go in with my beauty blender with excess foundation on it and just tap it on and help blend it out. I'm going to turn my mouth to the other side to make this area as flat as possible because I got some chipmunk cheeks, okay? So I got a little extra fat there, so I gotta to make it as flat as possible so it doesn't bounce back, okay? I created this straight line right here and I'm gonna stick to it, okay? So I'm only blending in this area. I'm not dragging it to this side. I'm not dragging it down here and down my jaw. I'm going right here in this one area. And I'm not moving. You cannot move me. I'm stuck here. Okay? And it creates this shadow effect. I naturally have a shadow here and a line here anyways, but all I'm doing is just defining it a bit more. If you have a more rounded face, it's gonna look different. You might wanna accentuate your rounded cheeks because they're so damn cute. If you have a more chiseled face, you're just gonna follow the hollows. Like, it's much easier for you. But me, I gotta manipulate just a little bit. But notice the way that I'm blending. I am staying in the same spot and I am pressing, dabbing, and flicking, okay? And that's all that I'm doing, just in super quick motions. You see that? Okay, now we do the other side.
And I'm satisfied.
I'm very easily satisfied, so if that tells you anything, I don't know what will. The reason why I like using a cream blush before I conceal is because I like the cream blush to go a little bit under my eyes and blend well with my concealer. I hate this packaging. Every time it scares me. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I'm going in with a cherry red cream blush, and this one, oh, absolutely love. You can use any cream or liquid blush that you would like. I always do all of my creams first. I do all my cream products first, and then I go in with my powder products to set. So my placement of my blush is also not going to be the same way as your placement on your blush, all right? But how I'm applying it and how I'm blending it is I take some off onto my brush, okay? And I press and dab, same motion, just press and dab. But I do it really quickly because I've been doing it for a while. You do the same motion, take your time. If it means going like this, do it. You just want to get the motion down, because I don't want y'all rubbing and going in circles and making messes and making everything look muddy because you're gonna go and say that Shumsy told you to.
I didn't tell you to, and don't claim that I did. Sorry, I'm trying to help and I'm trying to be nice, but like, it's really hard for me to be nice. Breathe. Where's my water? It's really hard for me to be nice when you're getting in the way of your own potential and you're ruining my name in the process. Hell nah. Absolutely not.
I am someone that likes bringing it right here, like close to the apples of my cheeks. Like, these are technically the apples of my cheeks, but I like having it just at the edge because I feel like it makes me look a little cuter. You know what I mean? So this is what I like. And this is what I used to do. I used to bring my blush also onto my forehead a little bit for a more cohesive look because I absolutely love blush and I love how it looks. So you could do this too if you want to, but skip adding it to your forehead if you desire. It's not that deep. And you don't have to go too heavy-handed with the cream blush. It's more of a basis for your powder blush to stick to after.
Press, dab, flick, press, dab, flick, press, dab, flick. That's all. That is all. And it's starting to look like a little bruise, but I promise it's gonna come together, don't worry.
Now is the fun part. Now is concealing time, and it's my favorite part. I'm going to start off to do this. I'm just doing this because I want to, and I want to keep using this product because I'm going through a bit of a trial run with this NARS one. But take a tiny bit. You only need a little bit.
Ow, I have a breakout right here and it hurts.
I'm gonna try not to press on it. I'm applying just a little bit because I just want it to correct the darkness so that I can focus more on highlighting under my eyes. All right, you don't have to do this. It's not necessary. I usually don't do this. But again, I'm trying out products for you guys so that I know what to recommend for you guys. Today, I'm going in with the Fenty Hydrating Longwear Concealers. Emphasis on longwear and hydrating, which usually don't go in the same sentence, but we shall see today. I'm going in with 2 shades. I usually go in with different formulas, but today I'm using the same formula because, again, I'm trying new things for you guys. And my placement is very specific, okay? When I'm blending out my concealer, I do it in darkest to lightest shades. So the darkest shade goes on the outside and the lightest shade goes on the inside. This shade of concealer is about 2 shades lighter than my skin tone. I'm gonna go in with one that is 3 or 4 shades lighter than my skin tone in the areas that I want to be brighter. And it creates like this little ombre effect. And this is going to be what makes my under eye look so seamless because it'll all blend together beautifully. The technique is still the same. It's not about what you have, it's about how you use it. There are rules to makeup for sure when it comes to hygiene and sanitizing, but other than that, you do what you want with what you got. And that's how we're able to have all these looks and innovating techniques. People do things that they're not supposed to do or that are not the norm. Now's the important part. If you are using a full coverage mattifying concealer, I do not suggest that you let it dry down and get tacky. You do not need to, because it is mattifying, which means that it's going to dry down faster, which means you got to get to blending real fast. So for my MAC Pro Longwears, for my Tarte Shape Tapes, for my L'Oreal Infallibles, there's no need for you to wait too long for it to get tacky, because it'll dry out into that same patch that you applied it in. So don't do it. Don't do that. And if you're looking at my concealer placement right now and you're like, that is so 2016, abso-freaking-lutely, because guess what? Back in 2016, we knew how to do makeup. Okay? People don't know how to do makeup now, which is why I'm making these videos in big 2024. A little rant while I wait for my concealer to dry.
Everybody gets sucked into this, to all these aesthetic trends and my skin but better and da-da-da. And the reason why all these little my skin but better routines and tutorials are trending is because people don't know how to do makeup anymore. People don't know how to do real makeup anymore. People don't know how to blend. They don't know how to apply. They don't know how to make things work. The second something goes wrong with y'all, you give up. The 2016 girlies were using lip liners on their eyes as eyeshadow and creating looks with cut creases and Q-tips and this and that. And there's just a lack of creativity now. You just say that. Just say this. Just say there's a lack of creativity and keep it pushing. And that's okay. That's fine, as long as you can admit it. But yes, this looks 2016 core. I don't care. Because while my face is going to last all day, and while I'm going to be getting complimented on my bright under eye, you're not going to be getting complimented on your little my skin but better look, because nobody's going to know that you're wearing makeup.
I want people to compliment my makeup.
I want people to look at my face and look at my base and be like, whoa, what did you use? Oh my gosh, your base is flawless. I want them to compliment it because it's complimenting my skills.
It's complimenting my techniques. And I get to know that I get to know that my techniques are working. I get to know that my hard work and my dedication is working. That looks like enough. The best thing that you could be doing in this process is moving your sponge around. There are so many spots on my sponge that I can use to help diffuse and distribute product. All right, so I'm gonna start with the areas where I have the least amount of product, and that's gonna be right underneath my contour line. So I'm not swiping upwards, I'm not swiping at all, I'm not going in circles. I'm taking this side of my sponge and I'm going to be patting in the product and bringing it down. Okay, because I only applied it up to here, but I'm gonna bring it down up to here, and the line's scaring me a little bit, so I'm gonna take the side where I had excess foundation from earlier, and I'm gonna pat it into that line just to help that area blend into each other more, because I do still want a defined cut cheekbone. However, I don't want it to be a scary line there. All right, so look at that. Blend, 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 boom. Okay, other side, same thing. I'm making sure to go into that same direction because I want the light to stay in the middle of my chinny chin chin. Same idea. I'm just blending in one motion because the lightest part of the concealer has already touched the tip of my sponge and I want it to stay there. And by doing it this way, I make sure that there's a nice ombre effect to the rest of my face. You see that? The brightest area is always going to stay right here in the middle, and it'll just diffuse into the rest of my products. If you're somebody whose concealer doesn't give full coverage and it's not making it bright everywhere that you're placing it, it's very simple in the sense where it may just be the side of the sponge that you're using. Like, the product is not always the problem. Sometimes it's you, and that's okay. That is totally fine. Again, I blended down my nose with the tip of the sponge being the main thing that's blending, okay? And now I look like I have a landing strip on my nose. That's totally fine. I take the excess foundation from the bottom of my sponge and I just blend the sides down a little bit so it's not as thick, okay? All right, now blending my under eye. Some people decide to use a brush, which is totally fine. I'm a sponge girl, okay? So again, same idea. I am blending from in one direction with the lightest part gonna stay at the top, at the tippity top of my sponge, and the darker shade at the bottom. All right, so I'm going this way, and I'm not going into the corner of my eye because I want to add a bit more product if I feel like I need more coverage there. So I'm gonna start by blending in right beneath my eye bags And I'm really pressing the sponge into my skin. I'm really pushing it in there because I want the product in there. And I am going in an upwards motion because this is a shape that I want to create. I want to create that lifted shape. By doing it this way, then I'm getting a nice even blend of both shades that I used. Excess foundation, bottom of sponge, blend it in with my blush, blend it in with my bronzer, right? There we go. Now I can do the other side. This is where we're at. I am someone that likes a really bright under eye. So what I'm going to do is take my lighter shade of my concealer, add a tiny bit more in this corner of my eye. That's where I have the most darkness under my eyes, and I'm gonna let it get tacky. In the meantime, while we're letting this get tacky, we're going to take our powder and take our triangle. If you're someone that only has beauty blenders, you can use the same beauty blender. Honestly, it's not that deep. I'm gonna pat on some product. A lot of artists put it in their hand. I like grabbing things and then I don't want extra powder on my hands on the product that I'm grabbing things on, so I'm just gonna dab it onto the back of my hand. And this helps distribute the powder onto the sponge, so it's a more even layer of powder on the sponge. Okay. This is the most important part for me, okay? I'm going to blend out my under eye. This is also how I reverse contour my nose, by the way. I just bring some product onto my nose and I just slide it down and then I just tap. I just blend it. Okay, now that my concealer is blended out on this side, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna take it, you're gonna set it right away. You're not gonna wait. But Shamsi, the other side's not blended out yet.
I know that.
The reason why you are creasing is because you are waiting until you blend out both eyes. You need to get to it quick, okay? Concealer doesn't wait for you. Concealer's not scared of you. Concealer doesn't need you. You need concealer. So you gotta blend and set right away. In those problem areas, you gotta blend and set, okay? I just got my sponge ready again for my second eye. I'm gonna blend it out and then set. Now we can set the rest of the areas that we put concealer. Now that we look a little scary, this is where the extra powders come in. So I'm gonna take my powder brush, I'm gonna go into my face powder, and I'm gonna apply this everywhere. If you have dry skin, obviously you don't have to do this. My skin's dry right now, but it's not dry to the point where I can't use my face powder as something to make my face, blend my face back together again. So the reason I like using a face powder after is because I wanna make sure that my actual skin tone is still very much apparent. So I'm gonna use my face powder on this side just so that you guys can see what it does for me. So it's helped me blend out my forehead into my bronzer a little bit. It's helped me blend out my under eye into my blush and my bronzer, right? And it's just made it much more blended. So that's what I'm gonna do to the other side as well.
Same motions, dab, swipe, dab, swipe, dab, swipe. I'm not dragging around, I'm just dabbing, swiping.
Now, powder contour. So I'm not going like this, back and forth. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm picking up the brush after because I don't want product to move going this way. I want it to go in the downwards direction because this is the direction that I want it to go in. I'm not trying to move product out of the way. I'm just trying to place it down and leave it. The same technique that I used to blend out the cream contour, I'm using to blend out the powder contour. Back into the hairline because I don't want to create darkness where I don't want darkness. Now we get into powder blush. I'm going to be using a loose powder blush, all right? And this can get a little messy. This Givenchy one can get a little messy. I don't recommend to go in straight with a loose powder blush if you're someone that's still learning how to blend. If you're a little more confident in your craft, I take my blush brush and I take a bit of the blush onto my brush. I dab off a lot of the excess. I'm still pressing a bunch of times. I'm not going in a circle. I'm not swiping. I'm just pressing. And I'm just doing it really fast to the point where it looks like I'm dragging, but I'm not. And just look at how beautiful that blush looks. So you can kind of see like a slight tint of pink underneath all of this, but adding the powder just boosts it up, okay? And after applying this powder blush, I'm gonna go in with a more corally orange blush, just because that's the vibe that I'm on today, and I want to look more warm toned, and I want to look pinky, and I want to look cute. So I'm gonna go in with just a regular muted orange eyeshadow that I depotted from, I believe it was either a Morphe eyeshadow kit or a Juvia's Place eyeshadow. I think it was a Juvia's Place, but I'm not too sure. And I'm just gonna pick some product up, same idea, same motion, and just look at the difference that it makes between this cheek and this cheek. This cheek is definitely more pinky, but now I look a bit more alive and a bit more awake because of the orange blush. And blush is always the first thing to go, so I always suggest being a little heavier handed. But you know, to each their own. If this is too much for you, add a little bit less. Nobody will care, I promise. Maybe a bit more. I'm gonna go in with this bright pink Juvia's Place shade. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Oh. Okay, now I'm satisfied. Now I am satisfied. Okay. Under my eyes, I'm gonna go in with a pressed powder. You can use any pressed powder you'd like. My go-tos are either the Maybelline Fit Me, the Charlotte Tilbury, or the Huda Beauty Easy Bake. But my tried and true will always be Maybelline Fit Me. She just always holds it down, all right? So I'm gonna take my triangle, have the powder, dab off the excess, just make sure that's distributed properly, and just watch what happens. Watch what happens when I press it under my eyes. Look. I love this powder. And after I do this, I always make sure that I go in with the same blush brush with no extra product on it, dab and swipe. Just blend the under eye powder into your blush. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. All right, take your setting spray.
I want you to drown in it. I want you to, and do not open your eyes. Don't open your eyes and don't squeeze your eyes, because when you squeeze your eyes and you put the setting spray on, technically speaking, you're wetting your face. And what that means is you're wetting your face, you're adding some form of water onto your face, and you're making these faces where you're squinting and you're creating these fine lines and wrinkles. The water or the setting spray is going to set into those fine lines, and that's how you crease. That's how you crease. I don't have any eyeshadow on my eyelids, so I can open my eyes, and I'm not squeezing my eyes shut, but if I did, you'd be able to see it in my under eyes. Because people, like, a lot of the times, it's not the products that you use.
And I am willing to fight and battle on this hill. It's not always about the products you use. Not every single product is terrible. Not every single product is the problem. Sometimes it's just the little steps in between that cause your makeup to not come out the way that you would like it to. It's all trial and error. Like I tell people all the time, it's all trial and error. You figure out how things work on your face on your time, you know, with how much effort that you put into it, that's how much effort that you're gonna get back. If you're just putting 10 minutes into your face and you're like, I gotta go, and then you expect like a flawless base and you haven't done your time yet, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what type of entitlement you have. You can't have those unrealistic expectations for yourself and expect it to come out perfect every single time. It's not always the product's fault. Sometimes it's your fault, and that's okay. Oh, one of my lights died. For my lip, I'm gonna go in with like this one from Makeup Forever in Limitless Brown. It really did change my perspective, because instead of a lipstick, I'm just gonna open my foundation. I'm just gonna put my finger on and I'm just dabbing it on. No, it's not a lipstick, but again, it's makeup. I can do whatever I want with it. And just look at what happens. Just look at what happens. Okay? Start using your cream products on your lips, please. I did this for the first time like 2 days ago, and I have not stopped. Every single day. I don't even need to have a full face on. Every single day without fail, I'm doing this lip. Because it's just so pretty. I know I've said this 100 times in this video already. I know I've said it and I say it all the time. But it's not about what you have. It is never about what you have. Like, yeah, sometimes it could be about what you have, but majority of the time it's not about what you have, it's about how you use it. Technique and tools will take you a much longer way than having every single high brand luxury product. You can have all the luxury brand products and not know how to use them. Someone could be walking around with a face full of Sephora, and I could be walking around with a face full of Walmart drugstore, and my face can look better. But that's because I don't limit myself to my success and the success of my base to higher end, more expensive products. A lot of these companies are all owned by L'Oreal. Let me just say that. So either way, the formulas are not going to be too out of the ballpark for you. You know what I mean? So just think about that and don't be too hard on yourself. And I'm very happy with how this face came out. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I like it. I can go to my meeting. And yeah, thanks for hanging out, and thanks for letting me yell at you a little bit. Just a little bit. I hope this helped. I hope you're able to learn something. So comment what you usually do that is unorthodox when it comes to your makeup routine, and see if anybody else does the same thing. And it'll be fun. It'll be like a cute little game. Like, hello, who's like me? Who's just like me for real? You know what I mean? This was a fun FaceTime sesh. I love you guys. Okay, bye.